The Arctic, once a desolate and frozen wasteland, is undergoing a dramatic transformation, one that is reshaping the geopolitical landscape. Global warming is rapidly melting the Arctic ice cap, revealing vast untapped resources and opening up new shipping lanes that were previously inaccessible. This transformation has turned the Arctic into a new geopolitical battleground, with nations vying for control and influence over this strategically important region. The race for the Arctic has begun, and the stakes are incredibly high, with countries eager to secure their share of the region's resources. At the heart of this competition lie the vast reserves of oil, natural gas and minerals hidden beneath the Arctic seabed, waiting to be tapped. The Arctic's potential as a source of these resources is staggering, promising significant economic benefits for those who can access them. The United States Geological Survey estimates that the Arctic holds approximately 13% of the world's undiscovered oil reserves and 30% of its undiscovered natural gas reserves, making it a critical area for future energy exploration. In addition to these traditional energy resources, the Arctic is also rich in rare earth minerals, which are essential components in modern electronics and green technologies, further increasing its strategic importance. As global demand for these resources continues to rise, the Arctic's importance as a supplier will only grow, making it a focal point for international interest. This has led to a scramble for control of the region, with countries asserting their claims and expanding their military presence to protect their interests. The melting ice cap is also opening up new shipping routes, potentially revolutionizing global trade by providing shorter and more efficient paths. The Northwest Passage, a sea route through the Arctic archipelago of Canada, and the Northern Sea Route along the Russian Arctic coast offer significantly shorter travel times between Asia, Europe and North America compared to traditional shipping lanes, which could transform global logistics. These new routes could reshape global trade patterns and offer significant economic advantages to the nations that control them, altering the balance of economic power. However, the race for the Arctic is not without its risks, as the harsh and unpredictable conditions pose significant challenges. Exploitation of Arctic resources poses significant environmental challenges, threatening the fragile Arctic ecosystem and contributing to climate change, which could have far-reaching consequences. Additionally, the increased activity in the region raises the potential for conflict, particularly as nations assert their territorial claims and compete for resources, making international cooperation and negotiation crucial. The allure of the Arctic lies primarily in its vast and largely untapped resource wealth, a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Beneath the icy waters and permafrost lie immense reserves of oil, natural gas and rare earth minerals, making the region a potential treasure trove for nations seeking energy security and economic advantage. These resources are not just abundant but also critical for the future. The scale of these reserves is staggering, with estimates suggesting enough resources to reshape global energy markets and fuel the world's growing demand for high-tech materials. The potential impact on the global economy is immense. The United States Geological Survey estimates that the Arctic holds approximately 90 billion barrels of undiscovered, technically recoverable oil, a figure that could significantly alter the global oil landscape. This represents a significant portion of the world's remaining undiscovered oil reserves and is equivalent to almost 3 times the proven oil reserves of the United States. Such a discovery could shift the balance of power in global energy markets. The Arctic's natural gas potential is even more substantial, with an estimated 1,669 trillion cubic feet of undiscovered, technically recoverable natural gas, a resource that could revolutionize energy supply. This represents nearly 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas reserves and is enough to meet global natural gas demand for decades. The implications for energy security are profound. Beyond traditional fossil fuels, the Arctic is also rich in rare earth minerals, essential components in the production of smartphones, computers, electric vehicles, and renewable energy technologies. These minerals are crucial for the advancement of modern technology. These minerals are not actually rare in terms of global abundance, but are typically found in low concentrations and are difficult to extract economically. The Arctic's deposits could change this dynamic. However, the Arctic is believed to hold significant concentrations of these minerals, making it a potential future supplier for the global market. This could reduce dependency on current suppliers and diversify the supply chain. As demand for these minerals continues to soar, driven by the growth of the electronics and renewable energy industries, the Arctic's importance as a source of these critical materials will only grow. The region could become a linchpin in the global supply chain. The vast resource potential of the Arctic has sparked a modern-day gold rush, with nations and corporations alike eager to stake their claims and capitalize on this newfound wealth. The race is on to harness these resources. However, this rush for resources raises significant concerns about environmental protection, the rights of indigenous communities, and the potential for conflict in a region already grappling with the impacts of climate change. The stakes are incredibly high. The world must proceed cautiously, balancing economic interests with the need to protect the Arctic's fragile ecosystem and ensure a sustainable future for the region. The challenge is to find a path that benefits all stakeholders while preserving this unique environment. The melting ice of the Arctic has set off a geopolitical scramble, with nations eager to assert their presence and secure access to the region's abundant resources and strategic waterways. This race is not just about territory, but also about the future of global trade and energy security. The Arctic Council, an intergovernmental forum comprising the 8 Arctic states, Canada, Denmark, Greenland, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Sweden, and the United States, was established to promote cooperation and address common challenges in the region. It serves as a platform for dialogue and collaboration on issues ranging from environmental protection to sustainable development. However, the growing strategic importance of the Arctic has led to increased competition and tensions among these nations, particularly between the major powers with significant Arctic interests, Russia, China, and the United States. The stakes are high, and the potential for conflict looms large as each nation seeks to secure its own advantages. Russia, with the longest Arctic coastline and a long history of activity in the region, has emerged as the most assertive player in the Arctic. Its ambitions are clear and its actions are bold, reflecting a deep-seated determination to dominate the region. The country has been steadily expanding its military presence in the region, reopening Soviet-era military bases and deploying advanced military equipment, including nuclear-capable missiles and submarines. This military buildup is a clear signal of Russia's intent to protect its interests and project power in the Arctic. Russia views the Arctic as a crucial strategic buffer zone and is determined to protect its economic interests in the region, which include vast oil and gas reserves and the Northern Sea Route, a potentially lucrative shipping lane. The economic potential of these resources is immense, and Russia is keen to capitalize on them. China, despite lacking a geographic presence in the Arctic, has declared itself a near-Arctic state and has been actively expanding its influence in the region. Its ambitions are driven by a strategic vision that sees the Arctic as a key area for future growth and influence. Beijing sees the Arctic as a key component of its Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project aimed at connecting Asia, Europe and Africa. This initiative includes significant investments in Arctic infrastructure, which are designed to enhance China's strategic reach and economic influence. China has invested heavily in Arctic infrastructure projects, including ports, railways and icebreakers, and has been actively engaging in scientific research in the region. These efforts are part of a broader strategy to establish a long-term presence and influence in the Arctic. China's growing Arctic ambitions are driven by its energy needs, its desire for new shipping routes, and its ambition to play a greater role in global affairs. The Arctic offers new opportunities for China to diversify its energy sources and enhance its global trade routes. The United States, despite being an Arctic nation with significant interests in the region, has taken a more ambivalent approach. Its actions have been less decisive, reflecting a complex mix of strategic priorities and domestic considerations. While the US has expressed concerns about Russia's militarization of the Arctic and China's growing influence, it has lagged behind in asserting its own presence. This hesitation has raised questions about America's long-term strategy in the region. The US has been slow to invest in icebreakers, a crucial asset for operating in the Arctic, and its military presence in the region remains limited. This lack of investment and presence could undermine its ability to compete effectively with other Arctic powers. This reluctance to engage more actively in the Arctic has raised concerns about the US. Its ability to protect its interests and counter the growing influence of its rivals. As the Arctic continues to thaw, the geopolitical landscape will only become more complex and contested.